How are you today? I hope everybody is okay. Are you enjoying the worship? Are you enjoying this Yom Rishon, this Sunday afternoon here in Jerusalem? Welcome to Jerusalem, to King of Kings, and welcome to our community online. Welcome to Jerusalem, even though just virtually. I hope you can come. I've been traveling with Joanna a little bit over the weekend, and I saw... Thank you. Gabi, ladies and gentlemen. Great drummer. Even when doesn't play, he make noise like a proper drummer. So we actually saw that the Malone, the hotels are starting slowly to fill in with tourists. Any tourist here with a visa? Are you with a visa, with the right visa, tourist visa? We don't want you to stay. Go to the nations, preach the gospel, okay? That's what we are supposed to do. From Jerusalem, Judea, Samaria, to the nations. So don't stay here, go to the nations. Come here, learn, and then go to the nations. That's not my message today, don't worry. So today my message is the power of remembering. How do we protect our memories? Now, this is part of our series on Hold That Thought that Pastor Mike had in mind, in his heart, in his spirit, to bring together for each and every one of us. So I have the privilege, and we have the privilege with Pastor Wayne and Pastor Veiko to carry this vision for this month still, and to speak about something that for me, during the preparation has been vital. And I pray that now everybody is pay attention for these 20-25 minutes. Okay, don't come. I pray against the spirit of distraction right now, because this is a life-changing in your relationship with God and your relationship with people. Because everything, every action and reaction that we have in life are made by decision because of traumas or memory that we have about the past. At the same time, our action and reaction is about the expectations of our future. So we are stuck here in this time called present, but we are so much impacted by the past and impact about the future. One of the ministry I'm running here at King of Kings is the youth. Any youth here? Up there? 3. Thank you. And I can see that kind of prayer and impact that we can have on them is what I'm going to do in the future, when I'm going to marry, where I'm going to live, what about the army, what I'm going to choose in life. It's so focused on the future that sometimes they forget to live the today. And that's something that we do as adults as well. You are adults. I'm just 43 years old. I'm still young. But from here, you look very adults. So that's so important. Or anybody get offended? I see people leaving the room right now. No, I'm just joking, okay? Don't get offended. So today is so much important to go into that. Scientifically, I'm not a scientist here, or a psychologist, psychiatrist, okay? So it's not my expertise. But I was reading an article this week about a recent, it's not so much, in science, 10 years is pretty recent discovery about the heart. Do you know that they discovered that the heart has a memory? Do you know the heart can remember things that happened in the past? So you don't remember only with your brain, you remember also with your heart. You know what the heart does? It register or record a kind of heartbeat, and when you recall that memory, the heart is pounding at the same speed. Now, if it's something good, that's absolutely amazing. Now, if it's something bad, that's how anxiety and panic attack can come, and you cannot control. Because you cannot control that memory, and you get stuck with that thing, and the heart, because as its own memory, is recording that pounding, is recording the heartbeat, and is bringing you that kind of condition that you hate, that you don't want to, that you cannot make you sleep. You have sleepless nights because of this kind of thing. It's uncontrollable. You don't know where it's coming from. But today I want to tell you that there is a way we can control our memories. We can control and remember the good stuff and discard the bad stuff in order to be a better human being, have a greater relationship with God and with other people. Now, I'm going to borrow the idea of time of somebody called St. Augustine. I don't know if you ever heard. It's part of the church fathers. He's not a rabbi. But I'm not always in agreement with him. I've been reading his Confessions. I've been reading The City of God, the books that he wrote in the 4th century. So it's back in the past. And he came up with this idea. You may agree or disagree. I disagree on some points, but on this point I agree. What is the past and what is the future? In his theory, the past is your present memory and your future is your present expectations. Now, what is your past? Is anything or everything that you remember right here, right now. What is your future? Nobody knows his future, but it's made by the expectations, what you're studying, about your family. But you have no control of both. So he says, what is real? He argues about reality. He comes to the conclusion, which I disagree. He says the past and futures are not real. The only present is real. I may agree to a certain extent, but disagree on certain other things. Do your own research. I don't have an hour to go through Augustine theory on that. But what I agree on is that our past is made by only things that we remember. And also by the perspective of things that we had at the time that the specific event happened. We cannot really control that, and sometimes we have memories that are not even real. Maybe you were 5 years old when that kind of things happened to you, and you have still now, 40, 50, 60 years old, the experience and the perspective that you remember as a 5 years old. The same about the future. So what is real? Is it possible, just a question, is it possible that you are stuck in your relationship with God and with others and with yourself about something that you believe about your past that is not real? And so how do we start again today in the present? Now, it might sound a little bit philosophical. Don't worry, I'm going to read the Bible soon. So my first key phrase is that today, you are not the product of your past, but of the memories that you have about your past. Similarly, today, you are not the product of your future, but the product of the expectations that you have about your future. So keep that in mind as we start this journey together. Now, you need to learn, and I need to learn. I'm not speaking from a platform that I solve that. I know the theory very well, and I'm going to explain the theory very well. But then I will give you the tool to start the fight. But now the fight is up to you. That's what most of the time we receive in God. God is giving us the command. He's giving us the Torah, and He says, now obey. Well, that's where the tough part starts. You need to obey. You need to focus on yourself. You need to walk by the Spirit. That's the point that Paul is debating, and he goes in that confusion, the good I want to do, I don't do, and the evil I don't want to do, that's what I do. That you need to read several times for understanding what the Apostle Paul is saying there. But how do we submit our memories to Adonai? Today I have two stories for you. A negative way to submit your memories to God, and a positive way to submit your memories to God. Okay? So we start with the negative, so we finish high, right? That was the strategy. I said, do I start with something positive? Let's start with something negative, with somebody that did a little bit of mistake. Is Elijah. So I have the scripture for you. I am in 1 Kings chapter 18. I'm reading from verse 20. So Achav sent word children of Israel and gathered the prophet together on Mount Carmel. Then Elijah approached all the people and said, how long will you waver between two opinions? If Adonai is God, follow him. But if it's Baal, follow him. But the people didn't answer him, not even a word. Meaning Elijah was on his own, completely alone. Then Elijah said to the people, I am the only prophet of Adonai left, but Baal's prophets are 450 men. One against 450 men. Now let them give us 2 young bulls. Let them choose 1 bull for themselves, cut into pieces, lay it into wood, and put on fire underneath. And they will prepare the other bull, lay it on the wood, and put on the fire underneath. Then you will call on the name of your God, and then I will call on the name of Adonai. The God who answered with fire is God. Then I continue for verse 27. Now, when it was about noon, Elijah mocked them and said, shout louder. After all, he's a God. Maybe he's deep in thoughts, or he's relieving himself, or he's off on a journey, or perhaps he's asleep and must wake up. Such a funny man. That's the prophet. 1 against 450. Yeah, cool, Elijah. We want to be Elijah right now. Yeah, 450 men. Prophet of Baal, the people that don't say a word, and he comes, the courageous prophet of Adonai. He comes. I'm imagining, okay, fire, and the fire comes down. You know how the miracle goes, right? That's powerful. It's one. Remember, if you are one with God, you are always in the majority. Okay, don't focus the crowd simply because they outnumber you. The Bible is full of stories that there are just 1 or 2 against the Assyrians, against the army. But the chariot of the army of Adonai Tsevaot is always outnumbering the enemy. So today, take courage. Even if you are alone in that fight, if God is with you, you will see fire coming from heaven, and you're going to succeed, and you're going to see the miracle of God in your life. Amen? Great. 2 days later. 1 Kings 19. It's between 2 to 3 days later. Then Ahab told Jezebel all that Elijah had done and how he had slain all the prophets with the sword. Then Jezebel sent a messenger to Elijah saying, so let the gods do to me and worse, if by this time tomorrow I don't make your life, Elijah, like the life of one of them. Elijah, frightened, he got up and ran for his life. When he came to Beersheba, which belonged to Judah, he left his servant there, but he himself, 2 days later, went a day journey into the wilderness and came and sat down under the broom bush. He prayed that he might die 2 days later from the miracle. And he says, it's too much, he said. Now Adonai, take my life, for I'm not better than my father. I explained the context again. 2-3 days before, on Mount Carmel, you have the prophet Elijah. Remember, fire, and fire comes down and defeat everybody. And now, because a woman said, I'm gonna kill you, you can succeed in front of 450 men, but you cannot succeed in front of an angry woman? Well, that's the story. Husbands married, how many of you understand Elijah right now? But you see how the train of thoughts, the way we think, you have the memory. Now 2 days ago you were on the Mount Carmel and you see fire come down. Don't you think the same God that delivered you from 450 men is going to deliver you from this queen? Whatever spirit is led by. Elijah forgot the fire. Elijah forgot the fire. Did you forget the fire? I really want you to take it to a journey right now. Maybe it's not 2 days ago. Maybe it's 2 years ago. Maybe it's 20 years ago. You forgot the fire of God into your life. You forgot the miracle that happened into your life. Listen, if today you came here to Pavilion or you connect to our page on YouTube or Facebook and you are pretending to listen, or you came here in the Pavilion to sleep, today this place is not a comfortable place to sleep. This is a place that you are going to experience again the fire of God. And if you forgot, here I am. They are going to remind you that God that sent the fire years and years ago, He will send it again into your life. And if you are waiting for a miracle, today you're going to see that miracle because God hasn't changed. God is the same. You don't protect your memory. I don't protect my memory. We forget what God has done in our life. Do you remember when you were in that car crash? Do you remember when you were in the hospital and everybody says you're not going to survive? Then God made a miracle. Do you remember when the doctor said to you, you're going to have a cancer? You have a cancer, you have a tumor, you have something. And then God brought something different. It's not the doctor, it's not medicine, it's not science to have the last word. It's God. But you forgot about it. And today, bring back that memory. As you are facing that giant again, as you are facing this miracle again, as you are asking from God, God, give me more, give me more. And God says, I did already. Just trust the same God that you were trusting yesterday and the day before and the year before, because He hasn't changed. You just forgot. The power of remembering is bringing faith in you. And it's not bringing faith only to you, it's bringing faith to others. Because when you tell your story, when you tell your testimony of what God has done for you, you will not forget the fire. So, fight the fear that forgets the fire. That's how the battle starts. Fight that fear. Elijah was in fear of Queen Jezebel. And that fear brought him to a place to forget the fire, to forget the miracle. Don't. That's something I cannot control for you. It's something that you set your mind for that. Are you ready for the second example? King David. Oh, people like King David, unless Elijah. Oh, you're going to deal with that one day? Hi, nice to meet you. I'm Elijah. I don't like, where is King David? And Elijah said, oh, it's for that thing that I want to die? Sorry. Yeah. You know what David wrote in Psalm 103, 1-5? I love it. It's like writing on your journal, writing on your fridge. Do t-shirts on that because it's so good. Bless Adonai, O my soul, and all that is within me, bless His holy name. Bless Adonai, O my soul, and forget not all His benefits. And then, after benefit, there is a list. Let's see the list of His benefit. He forgives all your iniquity. He heals all your diseases. He redeems your life from the pit. He crowns you with loving kindness and compassion. He satisfies your ears with good things so that your youth is renewed like an eagle. That's the list of all the good things that God is doing for you. Now, I think David has been through a journey. There are a lot of speculation about the life of David. I don't know if you've been following like the Amazon Prime series that, anyway, that is a lot of speculation on that. But I don't know what his childhood was like. I don't know if he was adopted. I don't know if he was a real son. I don't know. There is a lot of speculation, as I said before. But he comes to this conclusion in writing Psalm 103. And when I read this passage, the story of David and Goliath came into my mind. And I said, how can I combine that story of killing the giant with the story that David and the emotions that David is writing here in Psalm 103? So I start reading, and it's First Samuel 17 is a long chapter, and I took like few verses, 4 verses, from 33 to 37. Then Saul said to David, you can't go fight this Philistine, for you are just a youth, and he has been a warrior since his youth. But David said to Saul, your servant has been tending his father's sheep. When a lion or a bear came and carried off a lamb out of the flock, I went out after it, struck it down, and rescued the lamb out of its mouth. If it rose up against me, I grabbed him by its fur, struck it, and killed it. Your servant has killed both the lion and the bear, so this uncircumcised Philistine will become like one of them, since he has defied the ranks of the living God. Then David says, Adonai, who has delivered me from the paw of the lion and from the paw of the bear, will deliver me from the hand of this Philistine. Remember, that's the different process that Elijah 2 days before on the Mount Carmel. This is the young guy, young David, already anointed as a king, but not be king yet. He's going there fighting, and he brings the good memories in him. And he didn't say, well, I was so strong, then I killed the lion and I killed the bear. No, he said, the God of Israel delivered me already from the bear and from the lion. So who is this enemy? It's just another enemy. I don't care. Listen, in your life, the enemy will change, but God remains the same. The enemy may change, can be a lion, can be a bear, can be the giant, can be Absalom, can be Shaul, can be anybody. But if you are firm and certain that the God of Israel that has delivered you before in the years before is going to deliver you right here and right now. He changed the enemy, but he stays the same. Keep that in mind as you fight the good fight. As you're waiting from the yes, if you're waiting for God to give yet the yes for your prayer request, this is the memory they are supposed to carry through. You are not supposed to keep that memory, that trauma. I'm not saying the trauma is fake. I'm not saying the trauma that you had in the past is not real. I'm just saying you can decide today which kind of memory you want to bring. And how you can let the Spirit of God working in you. How do you do this practically? Well, you see what David just wrote. Just remember that God is not going to forget you. Remember that God sees you. Remember what Mordecai says to Esther. In the book of Esther, in the Megillah of Esther, chapter 4:14, he says, if you don't step in now, help will come from somewhere else. Because God is looking after his people. So you have the opportunity, I'm paraphrasing here, Queen Esther, you have the opportunity to be the agent of the salvation of God. And if you say, no, well, God will choose somebody else, but he's going to save his people because it's his people. How much more you are precious to God. You know, most of the time I speak with, well, it's not always the young people, even older ones. They are coming to me and says, I don't know what to do. I don't know in which area I need to serve God. I have some decision to make. I don't know if I choose this one or the other one. And they say, do you think that God is like tricking you? Do you think that your Father in heaven wants you to fail? If you choose the wrong one, If you choose the wrong direction, it's going to help you. It's going to close that door. Don't be always in that chair and praying and praying and praying and praying. God says move and you pray. Listen, it may sound a little bit heretical, but if God says move, you don't pray. Because I know people that are still praying to serve God. And they miss all the opportunity to serve God. Praying is relationship with God. But it became in our society a kind of like, oh, I need to go to the, I call it the witch doctor. I need to go to that. They tells me what to do, what not to do. I always mention my granddad. Sorry for me for being so repetitive on that. I remember people saw the power that my granddad had in Italy, and he was so powerful in everything he did, and people were going to him and said, Pastor, can you give me a word from God? And I remember as it was yesterday, the answer of my granddad, they say, do you have the Holy Spirit? Ask him. Why are you coming to me? Don't you have the same Spirit? Don't you have the same God? Do you think that God speaks more to me? He speaks more to me because I listen. Just go to Him, kneel down and say, God, what should I do? But then we became like everybody's Moses, the paradigm of the temple. We can only fight God in the Holy of Holies. Well, but now through Yeshua, we can experience the presence of God right here, right now. And I want you to know that. So today I want to tell you that also the Hebrew word for remember is zachar, which has the combination of this verb as many connotations, like for example the Yom HaZikaron comes from that, so it's a memorial day, or the Azkara, which is the memorial when somebody dies. Every year in Judaism, you remember that person. Now, when we talk about remembering, like in the Western society, is always like a cognitive exercise in which I bring back memories, and that's it. In Judaism, is always bringing an action. So I remember, so I do something. Like the Azkara. I remember that person and I do something. Last year in the Azkara of my dad, I gave some money away because he was very generous. My dad was very generous, so I give some money away in memory of my dad. And you tend to do something that the person that is no longer here on earth used to do. And so in memory of him, we don't pray the dead. That is another religion that does that. But we remember. Why? Because our God, the God of Israel, is the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And Yeshua said in Matthew 22, He is not the God of the dead, He is the God of the living ones. That's why today we are still calling about the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. They are not dead, they are alive. And our dead are alive in waiting for the resurrection. Life doesn't stop on this earth. It continues. Now, there is something in Judaism that I love, which is the imitatio Dei, like the imitation of God. And if you read in the Tanakh that God is doing something, you are supposed to do it. Easy. Is God compassion? You need to be compassionate. Is God loving? You need to be loving. Is God taking care of the widows and the orphans? You do it. Does God take care of people? You do it. Is God generous? You are generous. So, does God remember? Yes. Does God move? Yes. So, I got struck with this, and this is my final verse, in Exodus chapter 2, is exactly in between the birth of Moses and the story of Moses and the burning bush experience. Now, listen what the Bible says in Exodus chapter 2, verse 23. Now, it came about over the course of those many days that the king of Egypt died. Pharaoh died. Bnei Israel groaned because of the slavery. They cried out, and their cry from slavery went up to God. And there are 4 verbs, the actions that God does. God heard their sobbing, remembered his covenant with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And God saw Bnei Israel, and he knew. The knew means he knew what to do. That is an action of remembering. So the sages are saying that the remembering of God triggered the miracle of set his people free from captivity. By the fact that God remembered the covenant, that what triggered God to move to Moses, to call Moses on the burning bush and to speak to him and to say, go back to Egypt and save my people. It was the remembering that led into the action of God. Now, figure it out that, again, with our Western, some Christian, some Messianic understanding and reading of the Bible, we read this passage as the people of Israel is praying to God and God heard. That's not what the text says. The text doesn't say they are praying. The text is not saying that he's asking help. There is nobody interceding and saying, God, please, now that Pharaoh is dead, help us. No. No. There's nothing like that. Remember, it's 400 years in captivity. There's not that kind of relationship with God of Israel with Adonai. Sorry to say that. But the text is not mentioning any prayer. It says there is a groaning, there is a suffering, there is a cry of pain. And that's what God hears. It's not prayer. There's nobody asking, God, please help me. There's people crying in desperation, groans like, that's the groans. It's not praying. It's not, Father God, Avinu Shebashamayim, now I would like to present this case in front of you. Now that the Pharaoh is dead, maybe it could be a great time for us to be out of slavery. That's pain, that's tears. If you ever find yourself in that situation that you cannot even say, God, please help me, because the only thing you have is sobbing, is desperation. There is no way out. And God hears that. I said before, it's not prayer, but it is prayer. It's not prayer as we intend today. And it's not referring to God. God remembered the covenant because he saw the pain of Israel. And I want to tell you, maybe you stop praying. Maybe you stop reading the Bible out of pain. It's one of the most, unfortunately, reaction that believers do. When they are in pain, they stop praying, and they should pray more. They stop praying. They should read more the Bible. They stop reading the Bible because they said, God forgot about me. And that's where the sobbing and the pain of Israel was about. God forgot about me, but he didn't. The miracle is happening today. This is my final key phrase of the night. When fear whispers doubts, let your memory roar. For the God we remember is the God who still moves. He hasn't changed. I know you know that. But now you are aware of something that you need to put into practice. There is a movement, there is an action that the remember and the remembering will trigger. So, has God done anything good to you? Don't need to answer to me. Just speak to your heart, speak to yourself. Remember Psalm 103? David is not speaking to you, is not speaking to me. He says, bless Adonai, O my soul, and all that is within me, bless his holy name. And forget not all his benefits. He's not speaking to you, he's not speaking to me, he's speaking to his own soul. This is something that we stop doing because it's so Jewish. We stop speaking to our souls. And today I want to ask you to wake your soul up. Speak with your spirit to your soul and says, if you forgot anything about the goodness and the faithfulness of God, today is the moment that you say, my soul, my soul. Can I ask you to close your eyes right now? Close your eyes. And you know, I found myself in that situation over and over again. And that's why I said at the very beginning, this is a life-changing message. Because if you get this right, there is no enemy, there is no bad news, there is nothing that will really struck your relationship with God, not even death itself. That's what Yeshua managed to do what He did. Some people doubt that He waved a little bit on Gethsemane garden, not sure about it. People say, because He was supposed to show His humanity, yeah. Whatever you believe on that. But He gave us the perfect pattern of align your mind and your memories with God. I ask you again, did you forget the fire of the past? Did you forget the wind that blew and opened the Red Sea and you walk on the dry land and you move on the other? Did you forget? Because if you forgot, I would like you to stand up wherever you are as a statement. God, I forgot, but today I've been reminded. And that's what Keilah and the body of the Messiah is supposed to be. Every Sunday, every Shabbat, every Friday afternoon, wherever you meet with the Keilah, you come together to remember what God has done. Because sometimes we forget. So if you forgot that fire and you are living in that kind of situation, life-threatening like Elijah, and you say, God, please take my life. I'll ask you just to stand up wherever you are. I want to pray for you. If you forgot that fire, if you forgot that wind, I want to pray for you. Because the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob is the God of the living, is not the God of the dead. That's what Yeshua taught us. And so He's here right now. Are you waiting for a fresh wind and a fresh fire of God? Something new that consumes every single doubt that you have and bring faith? I'm going to pray for you, and you still have time to stand up in whatever position you are. If you are online, I just want you to stand up wherever you are as well. Just a response. I'm not going to see you, but God sees you. And they will come exactly there in your apartment, in your car, wherever you are. Avinu, today we are here, some of us in desperation, some of us with no way out. We think our past, we bring memories of our past, and everything that we remember is delusional and failures and unsuccess. But Lord, bring back that memories of those miracles, of those times of salvation when we experience your presence and your fire. Bring us back to our relationship with you that remind us how good and faithful you are. Whatever giant we are facing right now, whatever disease, whatever trauma, emotional, spiritual, and physical, come with your Spirit right now. Because as you did it in the past, you will do it again.